Hello my friends, welcome back to another versus video. This versus video is a little different. This is more of about not who's stronger, but like the one question, the one thing that nobody ever talks about when they pit these two characters together. And for me, it's about like which version of Superman you're using. Cause I feel like, and I blame Death Battle, when they started this like 10, 15 years ago. They never said which version of Superman they're using. They just said that, we just use these characters and they peak and we use all types of abilities. And it's like, okay, Superman, his peak is Superman 1,000,000, Superboy Prime, even Earth 2 Superman. Yeah, those Superman would probably beat Goku. There's no debate for that. But Goku can definitely beat a lot of Superman too. Like any of the not main continuity, but like a lot of the popular versions of Superman, like Justice League cartoon Superman, or Smallville, Superman and Lois, Christopher Reeves, Man of Steel. I think Goku beats all of them. I think Goku wouldn't. It would probably be mid to high difficulty, but I think Goku would beat them. So I think it just depends which one you're using. But like Golden Age, Silver Age, Goku would struggle and probably lose. But then when you have like Ultraman, like I think Goku's taking that, even in just Superman as well. So I just think that there has to be some type of clarification, because you can't just use all of Superman's feats and just jumble them all into the same character, because those are different universes, different, slight tweaks in their characters, slight tweaks in what they do and represent. So I think that's the main thing that people don't ever discuss. And I think that's what triggers a lot of arguments in the community. And I think another thing is Screw Attack, Death Battle, they always get like a lot of anime stuff wrong. Like there was a episode in the Buu Saga where Goku was struggling to lift 40 tons and they were like, well, that's his peak. It's like, well, he was still able to fight with 40 tons, and it wasn't like he could carry it. It was like him fighting with it on. They said he weighed him down. And, some people talk about the gravity and stuff. So I think they saw that and was like, oh, well, that must be Goku's base strength without ki. But it's like, that's without ki. You add ki, it's like how much stronger can he get? So I think some of the numbers and some of the different things, some of the different plot points they use can be kind of inconsistent. And Dragon Ball himself is very inconsistent with their own power scaling and power levels. Even now, I can make the amount of content I can make on like the inconsistencies of Dragon Ball, and it's gonna create a lot of just not dissension, but whatever, you know what I'm saying, So, and that's another thing. Like inconsistencies has never been something that they like address. Like, they'll say Goku can barely lift 40 tons, but in Dragon Ball he can lift a boulder that weighed that much. Or even in like the end of Dragon Ball, when he fought Piccolo in his giant form, he clearly weighed like 400 tons. So clearly, by the Saiyan Saga, he had that level of strength, So it's things like that kind of mess it up. But I think that most versions of Superman, Goku would win. Like a lot of the main ones, New 52 and things like that. I know why people think that might seem silly, but when you see this man destroy solar systems and galaxies, and his power level just keep increasing, Zenkai boosts and things of that nature, I just, So, but like I said, this is not about, like basically, the point I'm trying to hit home is that Goku would defeat many versions of Superman. It just depends which one you're talking about. So it's not about who would win. I know I said mostly I think Goku would win most of the time. But I just use a lot of main ones. There's a lot of different Supermen, even like a Richard Donner Superman who's pretty OP too. So, yeah, that's the one thing I feel like people just never, that they just miss and they just don't relay at all. So that's why it'll always be complicated. That's why it'll always be divisive. If you wanted my 2 cents on it back then, I thought it depends on what you're trying to prove, because you got Kryptonite and you got the sun. If Goku destroyed either of those, it's a win for Goku. But if you're talking about like, full powered Superman, I feel like if we talking all-star Superman with those feats, yeah, he'd probably be Goku. So it can go either way, to be honest. It's a really close battle. I know a lot of people don't think so, but I think it's a close battle, a closer battle than you think, especially with God Keys, Super Saiyan Blue, and Ultra Instinct. So that was just my little discussion vid. Thanks for watching, y'all. Catch you later.